Hey everybody, I hope all you guys are having a good day today. Thank you guys for all your encouragement and your well wishes from my last video. You know, sometimes this walk, especially, you know, when you put yourself out, you know, on YouTube and Facebook for the world to see, you know, you get hit from every angle that you could have possibly imagine, and then some angles you get hit from that you never even saw it coming. And you know, it can get frustrating at times, but I'll never stop doing what I'm doing as long as I've got air in my lungs and an outlet to release. I will always talk to people about the love of God and the things, the revelations that God gives me. You know, what got me started on the RH negative and the RH positive thing was a few years back when I lived in the States. I had internet, and I was watching other people's videos and stuff, and you know, they were always talking about this bloodline of the demons and the fallen angels, and they were saying that it was the RH negatives. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm RH negative, you know, and it didn't really concern me that much because, you know, I knew God, you know, I had experienced God and His love and His power to change. I was like, whatever, I know who I am. The Father's Spirit is alive and well inside me. But I was reading comments of people, you know, and you know, most of the comments were, you know, oh yeah, that horrible bloodline of Cain, or the fallen angels, or the demons, and all this stuff, and the horrible people and all this stuff. They were speaking about the 1%, but they forgot about all those people out there who are RH negative, that are very good people, who are spirit-filled people. And then I saw some of those people's comments, and they were scared. I saw one lady that was about to cry. She was like, I don't know what to do. Am I saved? I don't know if I'm saved or not because I've got this bloodline, you know, and they're just scared to death, and my heart felt for them. And so that's when I started seeking God for answers, you know, on what the RH negative and the RH positive is. You know, they say, science says, that the RH negative bloodline came from the Cro-Magnon man. And a lot of people, you know, they always try to the imagery they use whenever they show Cro-Magnon people is that real sluggish, stupid looking, carrying a club, you know, dragging their woman behind them by the hair, you know, things like that. But Cro-Magnon man actually was pretty big, had very robust and big and powerful bones. They had about a 10 to a 12% bigger brain capacity than Homo sapiens do. And one thing that a lot of people don't know too is that the brow bone on people is the only bone on the human body that never stops growing until the day you die. So someone who has a huge brow bone, except for the genetic defects that you see today, but someone with a huge brow bone, you know, from Cro-Magnon era, is someone that lived 800-900 years. You know, that's why their brow bone is so big, is because they lived so many years. And that goes right along with the stories of the Bible and the ages of the people there, you know. So anyway, but I got to looking into the RH negatives, and you know, I started realizing that there was two groups of people, you know, and that there was spirit-filled RH negatives, and then there was just some evil RH negatives. And then I got to reading, you know, the Bible, and I was, you know, hearing wording like, you know, the beast of the fields and things like that, and it was, I was like, this is people, this isn't animals. And I would ask preachers or pastors about it, you know, and they would always be like, well, you know, there's just some things we're just not meant to understand, you know. That's the thing they always do whenever they don't know, you know, is they'll say that. And I was like, that wasn't good enough for me. So God started giving me revelations in dreams, and I would research it, and sure enough, there would be truth. You know, the people that hit me the other day, I didn't read the Bible verses they give me. It was a novel. But I'm sure that what they sent me would be very convincing to convince me that there was no bloodline of Cain that is the serpent seed line. I'm sure it would be very convincing. It's what I've said before. You can make the Bible, you can puppet the Bible to make it say anything you want it to say. And I'm going to show you something today too. I'm going to read a few passages from the Bible to show that there is a bloodline of Cain. You can take it however you want it, you know. Before I get started on that again though, I just want to say the reason I got in on the RH negative thing and wanted to assure RH negative people that they're okay is because I seen the hurt that all the people who are not RH negative, not everybody, but the ones that were on the internet were causing people. You know, there's only 5% of the world population that is RH negative. There's 15% in the United States and the UK and Canada, but worldwide the average is 5%, you know. So I felt like the little guys were getting picked on here, you know. So I wanted to find answers and truth, and I did. So anyway, I hope no one got offended by that or confused. But for all you RH negative people out there who are spirit filled, rest assured you are not of the fallen angels or the demon bloodline, okay? All right. The serpent that was in the garden, Satan, the wisest beast of the field. In Hebrew, that word is nakash, and it's Strong's 5172. And it means a divination, an observer of signs, of defined enchantments. He's a whisperer of a magic spell. Sorry, I got a message here. Remember, he's an observer of signs, and he can whisper a magic spell. Okay? So remember that. I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 16. Matthew chapter 16, verses 1 through 4. Jesus is here with the Pharisees. It says, the Pharisees and the Sadducees came to Jesus and tested him by asking him to show them a sign from heaven. He replied, when evening comes, you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red, and in the morning, today it will be stormy, for the sky is red and overcast. You know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but you cannot interpret the signs of the times. A wicked and adulterous generation looks for a miraculous sign, but none will be given except the sign of Jonah. Jesus then left them and went away. See, by the time Jesus' time was there, you know, the king that was appointed over the Jews was appointed by Rome, you know. Plus, you know that the temple had been infiltrated by the evil ones, you know. So that's why Jesus was saying, you're not of my Father. If you go to Revelations chapter 18, verse 23, it reads, the light of the lamp will never shine in you again. The voice of the bridegroom and the bride will never be heard in you again. Your merchants were the world's great men. By your magic spell, all the nations were led astray. Magic spell. Nakash was a whisperer of a magic spell. He was an observer of signs. He knew how to read the stars and the moon and all those things. And he was like an astrology, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, let's go to John chapter 8, verse 44. We'll start at 42. It says, Jesus said to them, if God were your Father, you would love me, for I came from God, and now I'm here. I have not come on my own, but he sent me. Why is my language not clear to you? Because you're unable to spiritually hear what I say. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Who was a murderer from the beginning? Cain. He killed his brother Abel. Okay? Then we'll go to 1 John chapter 3, verse 12. Try and do this in a certain time here. May have to do 2 parts. It says, do not be like Cain, who belonged to the evil one and murdered his brother. And why did he murder him? Because his own actions were evil and his brothers were righteous. Okay? He belonged to the evil one. But he was a brother of Abel. How was that? Because of super fecundation. It's whenever you have twins by two different fathers. That's just showing you right there that I can use the Bible, just like those guys did with me, and prove my point. They can use it to prove their point. It's what I call Bible ping pong. You can do it either way you want. How do I get my truth? The Spirit of God lives within me. That's how I get my truth. Anyway, I wanted to ask you guys, you know, have any of y'all ever read the Stephen King book, The Stand, or watched the movie, The Stand? You know, in the movie or the novel, there was two groups of people. There was a worldwide plague that came and wiped out everybody except a small group of people. One group of people started hearing a voice from an evil one, and they all started gathering at Sin City in Las Vegas. And then there was another group of people that started hearing from an old black woman that was very spirit-filled, you know, and they started hearing her voice, and they all went to her, I think in Nebraska or somewhere, and then they went from there to Colorado, and that's where they gathered. And at the end they had a battle, you know, between these two groups of people. They were a bloodline because they were both immune to this plague, okay? And that's one of the things that you know, because their blood was different, okay? And if you guys have studied on the Georgia Guidestones, you know, the Georgia Guidestones, they have on there that they want the world population to be around 500 million people. I think that was erected in 1981 or 82. The population of the world now is around 7 billion, I think, something like that. 5% of the world's population is Rh negative. I believe 5% of 7 billion is around 500 million people. You know, there's a lot of things, you know, I believe there's a lot of truths that come out in movies and novels and things, and a lot of times, I think sometimes it's intentional and sometimes it's not. It's just part of this program, how things work out. But, you know, that's one thing to look into, you know, to weigh, you know, the end time battle could be a battle against Cain and Abel. And this time, Abel don't die, you know? So, anyway, it's just some things to think about and look at. Again, guys, thank you so much for your encouragement. You know, it's a lot different life here in the Philippines. Life is I'm not complaining, but it's very difficult here. It's not like in America or the UK or Canada. You know, life here is difficult, can be scary, and you know, can get frustrating, you know, with the wars going on, the different rebel groups, and sometimes I don't even think they know why they're fighting anymore. It's you know, that and disease and all that, so it kind of wears on you after a while. So thank you guys so much. You're my family. You guys are great. I love y'all. You know, for you guys out there that help support the children's ministry, feeding them and clothing them, thank you so much. You know, I lose a lot of, not a lot, I never had a lot of donators, but I'll get people that will donate money, and they'll do good for a while, and then I'll preach about something on here that they don't agree about, and they'll stop helping the kids. It's like they don't want to help me. They forget that it's about helping the children, and so they'll stop helping me. And it's like, I thought we were helping the children, but something I said that you don't agree with 100%, the children are going to suffer. You know, it happens a lot. So you guys that have stuck with me and continue to give and help, thank you so much. You just don't realize what it means and how awesome it is to be able to help these kids. I love you all. God bless.